Hey guys, I wanted to take a second to talk to you about Anchor. If you haven't already heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Here's a couple of reasons why. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch of other places. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, guys, we're back. We lost two people. We lost Justin and Blake because they are lame and have other responsibilities.
Had to
I
be
guess.
adults for a
Yeah.
while.
Whatever.
The
children are here.
The children are here. The two, like...
Now we can really have fun.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Let's talk.
One of the things I was laughing about this week was
Oh my gosh.
all of the stupid. Hold on, I gotta find it because it's just.
Jeez. This is Jordan, by the way. I'm still here.
Yeah, Jordan. Oh gosh. Freaking TikToks. You open TikTok and some dude is doing screamo songs. Do you use TikTok as much as you were?
Mm-mm. I was on it for a while, but I don't know. I just haven't been. I haven't been on my phone as much lately. Like I turned.
Has that been refreshing?
What do you mean? Oh, it's so nice.
Is it?
I've got.
I spend too much time on my phone.
Yeah, I was like that. I got off Instagram, and I'll check it every once in a while. I have like a couple of group chats on there that I use it for, but you know, we can. I don't know how much you want to get into this. We can definitely have a
Let's
conversation.
talk about it, dude.
But I know you're gonna, with all the like racial stuff going on. It was my I kind of guess the season I've been in, like the stuff that I've just been like allowing myself to walk through in terms of like anxiety that I've been having.
Yeah.
It just felt like information overload, and it was a lot. It was a lot for me to take in, and I think that there's this artist that I really like. His name is Montel Fish, and he's a singer, and he was talking about it, about coming at kind of this whole situation from an African American Christian standpoint, and it was really cool for him. He was just like, I want to take the time to figure out what I want to say and where I kind of stand with things. And I think just the season of life that I have been in and the growth and all that stuff, but at the same time, like focusing on that, that's what it was kind of for me, is like, I want to take a break from what everyone else is saying and still educate myself in a healthy way, but not just base it on that. So
Yeah.
that was a big part of it. And two, when I'm on Instagram a lot, I like my immediate thing is I'll start comparing myself. You see this guy who's doing this, or this couple that's in the Bahamas, or different things like that. And I was just like, I would compare myself, and I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And there's obviously good things that come out of it, but at the same time, I was like, I kind of like it without it. And
the reason why I was asking if it was like refreshing is I've started noticing that I think that's one of the reasons why I stay up so late is like I'll be tired at 10:30.
Right.
And then I get in bed and I'm like, oh, I'll be on my phone for a little bit. And then it's like this rabbit hole of,
Yep.
oh, I found this DIY the video.
Right.
And then that leads to me going into like the whole, like we were talking about earlier, the podcast stuff. Like I get this one idea and then I'm back at my desk
Right.
for hours researching this stupid piece of equipment that I'll never buy.
Right.
But I'm like, oh, well, if I did buy it in the future, I could do all this stuff with it.
Right.
And like last night, I was telling you, I was trying to come up with like ideas of how to, to promote the podcast on Instagram and stuff. And I was like, oh, I found this guy that does the cover art for podcasts.
Right.
So then I'm like thinking of like picture ideas of like what would be a good picture. So then I'm like researching on not only on Instagram but on like the stock photo websites of like
oh my gosh, you got into it.
portraits of like, you know, that people would use for like professional stuff.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, you know, coming up with ideas like, oh, I'll ask Blake if, you know, we can go do a photo shoot
Right.
here. And I'm like,
It's just a rabbit hole.
yes,
that
like,
leads to
there's
another
no,
rabbit
yeah.
hole.
And then next thing I know, it's 3-4 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I need to go to bed.
3
Dude,
or 4 in the
I stay up
morning?
so late. It's really bad. So, but I can tell that social media has been like one of those things where, like you said, especially now, it's kind of like, as much as I don't want to be blind to what's going on
Sure.
and like still say somewhat exposed to it,
Mm-hmm.
it's also like
In healthy ways.
in healthy ways. But I feel like it can get to the point where it's extremely unhealthy.
Exactly.
Like I'm sitting there, and it hasn't been as intense this week. But
Right.
last week it was like every video
Yeah.
that would come up was just it was like gut wrenching.
Right.
Like, and so, and I think we'll have to, if we are gonna sit down and talk about it, I think it'll be a different episode. But
Sure.
it's it's one of those things where I was like starting to feel where like if I was gonna go on Instagram, I couldn't be on mine, like my personal one.
Uh-huh.
I was using
The podcast
the
one?
podcast one
Right.
because I don't follow like news stuff or
Right.
like, so
Yeah.
if I was gonna go on Instagram, I wasn't even using mine.
Exactly.
Because I knew if I was going through my feed, it would be all
Right. And that's
negative and not
not negative.
not
it's
negative,
just-
but it was all centered around
sure.
like how broken our world is right now.
Yeah.
And it was just like one of those things that was like bringing me down. Not
Right.
that like we shouldn't be brought
Exactly.
down right now, but it was to the point where like I was going to bed and I was like, this sucks. Like going to bed and feeling like helpless of I don't know what to say. I
Right.
don't even know what to think. How do I help? You know, that type of thing. So I think, and before all this stuff happened, I think I was starting to feel like I was spending way too much time on Instagram anyway.
Yeah.
And like you said, like not just comparing myself to other people, but comparing my situation to other people's situations. Like, well, why am I not in a
Yep.
full-time job right now?
Yep.
Why am I not in a
Preach.
house
Uh-huh.
of my own?
Right.
Why am I not in a situation where I'm financially
Yeah.
independent?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
And then you start to think that you're wrong.
yeah.
And
yeah.
that's let me whew.
Go ahead.
So something that I've really been talking a lot with my counselor is this idea that like you think of like you hear it all the time. Everyone's not dealt the same hand.
Mhm.
And with that, I think that what's really important to know is that so often we as a society and we as a culture set norms that we turn into almost rules that in no way are rules. No one says that it's a rule that
It's
you
like
have
an expectation.
Exactly. But who placed them there?
Mm-hmm.
What we take in the most as like the things that we're allowing ourselves to see and the things that we're allowing ourselves to process,
Mhm.
that is what slowly dictates that. Like the thing about marriage, the suburb Chandler Gilbert area that we live in, a lot of my friends are getting married
Mm-hmm.
and have been married for a while. And like you can see that a lot, and you can start to the idea goes, I'm not married yet. Is there like something
Like, what am I doing wrong?
exactly?
Yeah.
But the thing about that is that if you look at the national average of people that get married, even just in America, is like 30 something.
Mm.
It's 30. But because of what we're kind of like
Or surrounding our environment, like what we're exposed to.
exactly, that's what's kind of influencing these different
Well,
things.
and like we were saying, like you go on social media, you're not seeing old people getting married. You're seeing people our age, if not younger,
Right.
posting about their marriages. They're like, oh, hey, I'm 20, just bought a house.
Right.
And I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Right. And that's what you see is that you only post the best stuff.
yeah.
You only post that, and at the same time, like, that's good for you. And that's like been the approach that I've really tried to take is that, like, I'm hyped for you. Like, you just bought a house or you just did this or that. That's sick, and I should be able to celebrate you and to celebrate that with you, and at the same time detach anything about me from that. Like, what does you buying a house have anything to do with me? I should celebrate the fact that you did that.
And not feel guilty of your situation.
Exactly.
And I think that was... So, and this is another topic, that we could spend so much time on, but coming from a family that spends, like, family is everything to me.
Right.
Like, I'll put my family before anything else.
Right.
It doesn't matter what situation it is. If my family isn't, like, if someone's going to question this situation over my family will always win.
Exactly.
And so I think one of the things that it's hard for me to, when I compare myself to, like, other people's situations, especially our age, my family has given me the opportunity to pursue full-time school,
right,
graduate school, and stay at home.
Yeah.
And so when I look at other people my age, I'm like, well, dang, they're on their own.
Yep.
They're in a full-time career.
Right.
They're getting married. They're, whatever. And I'm like, well, like, but then I look at it and I think the thing that's, like, I'm slowly coming to terms with is, like, I'm doing what I want to do because it's going to make me happy in the end.
Exactly. And that doesn't have to be compared to anyone else.
Yeah. And in the end, it'll be better for me. Like, my situation, however you want to say it, I'm extremely, extremely fortunate that I have parents that have let me stay at home.
Oh, my gosh,
so I
absolutely.
don't have debt with school.
Yeah.
Like, by me staying at home, it's allowed all of my finances to go to school.
Exactly.
And not have to worry about rent or bills that would pile up. And then once I graduate, I'm, like, sitting here with thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's what, like, when I think about that, I think about you think about we're all dealt different hands, because I, like what you said is exactly what I had to do. When I turned 18, my parents said, hey, we're moving away. And I was like, I don't want to move. Yeah. Like, I just graduated high school. Like, I'm set to go, like, I want to go to school and stuff. And my plan had been to go to community college and to, like, live at home and do that. And then quickly my parents were like, we're going to move away. So figure it out. Yeah. You could come with us if you want, but if you want to stay here, you got to figure it out. So I ended up going to a university and living up there. And it was just kind of that different situation where I was kind of, like, not forced into it. I still had that choice, but that was, like, what I kind of went with. And because of that, I have student loans. And I've lived on my own since I was 18. And not on my own, I live with roommates. Yeah, but, like, it's just that, like, but it's not wrong. No. And my path isn't wrong, and your path isn't. But one thing that is different in that being dealt different hands and stuff is that our situations are just different. So that was something my counselor and I described or talked about, is it almost makes no sense, and you can't compare your life to others because we don't have those same situations. Like, I'll give you an example. All three of the roommates that I have, I love them so much. They're, like, three of my closest friends. They all grew up, like, either homeschooled, private schooled. One of them didn't go private school, or one of them, but, like, not well off, but, like, well set families who from the beginning taught them finances, taught them how to do this, like, very, like, well disciplined and different things like that. In that situation, help them with school, help them, I think at least I could be, but, like, help them with those situations and stuff to, like, set them up in that way. My parents got divorced when I was, like, 6. My mom was a single mom with three boys and was just, like, really trying to put food on the table. Yeah. And taught me lots of things, but at the same time didn't have, like circumstances just didn't allow me to, like, have some of those things as well. So for me to compare my life and, like, the things that I've had to learn and grow and do to theirs, it makes no sense. Yeah. Because, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and it was, I think it was definitely one of the things that was most difficult was
seeing, like, even family members, like my cousins. I have a bunch of cousins that are the same age. And then seeing, like, it's funny because my two closest cousins are pretty much in the same situation I'm in.
Oh, really?
Like, almost identical
Right.
scenarios. Still living at home, going through school or working.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it has to do so much with how my family was raised, not just my immediate family,
Mm-hmm.
but my grandparents, like, raised all my aunts and uncles to value family so much that it's like, no matter what, like, family comes first.
Right.
Like, you don't split family. You don't,
which
you
is
know.
so crazy because that's just, and it just like shows it's like it is so interesting how different things are. I like, not in a negative way, but wish I had that.
Mhm.
Like I have on my mom's side only one relative that lives in this like area.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one. So my grandpa is moving to Indiana.
Uh-huh.
My mom's brother lives in Mesa, and then my
Okay.
mom's other brother lives in Flagstaff, and then my mom lives in Idaho.
Jeez.
So I don't see my dad super often.
Yeah.
We like his work schedule. He works graveyard shifts.
Mhm.
So I like it's hard to like mix that up. And then all of my family on my dad's side, every single one of them lives in Casa Grande.
That's so crazy. Okay, so with
it's
my
just
family,
completely different.
Yeah, my mom's one of 9.
Mm-hmm.
Only one of my uncles lives out of state.
See,
Everyone else is here.
Right.
Now, we're pretty much spread across the valley.
right, but you're
I
in the
have-
valley.
Yes. So, like, family parties growing up, it was, like, sacrilegious to miss a family party.
Right.
Like, and I have a bunch of cousins, so, like, I'm super close with all my cousins because we always spent, with how many of us there were,
Mm-hmm.
once a month we were having a family party.
Right.
And I think it stems from my Nana and Tata, just, that was family. Like, family was so important that
Right.
it, like, family came first.
Exactly.
So, like, it was interesting, like, when I was in relationships, like, especially, like, going through high school, it was like, hey, I'm sorry
it's a
if
big
I'm
deal.
with you, but I'm not missing Christmas.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry if you can't come to my Christmas party
Right.
with me. Totally understand. But if I don't show up to,
Right.
my Christmas, like, my family's Christmas party, I'm, like, excommunicated.
So was that a big deal for you in terms of like introducing someone to your family?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like, it was, there's been times where if I was dating someone and it wasn't long term or, like, it wasn't serious at the time, you'll meet my immediate family,
Right.
but you won't meet my extended family.
Right.
Because, like, me taking someone to my extended family, that's a huge deal.
Right.
Because they hold family, like, that highly. That, like,
Exactly.
so, like, if you're meeting my family, you're in a good spot. Like,
And it's like yeah, no, I get that for sure.
it's interesting now. So I've told you about my Tata, and he's,
Yeah.
not doing well right now,
Mhm.
health wise, and it's super comforting seeing, like, our family rallying together and taking care of him, and, like, seeing, like, how much family matters,
Yeah.
regardless of what the situation is.
Exactly.
And, like, seeing cousins that I haven't seen in a while, like, turn up and, like,
right.
and help out and stuff. And it's just one of those things where, like, if I was raised a certain way, I probably wouldn't be living at home right now. I honestly don't think I'd be in grad school
Mm-hmm.
if it weren't for the way I was raised. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't be able to pursue going to physical therapy school
Right.
if my parents hadn't raised me, the way, and it's like a big what if statement. Like, I
Right.
don't know where I would be if I wasn't in this situation, but knowing the way I am, I don't think I'd be able to handle, like, working full
Oh my
time,
gosh, paying for bills, doing all
bills,
that.
all that stuff, and being a full time student in grad school
No.
and
Right.
succeeding. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. And I like, yeah, that would just be so much. And I think that that's why I've learned personally for me to show myself compassion
Mhm.
and to show myself grace in the sense of where I am compared to others is just understanding and like really taking a step back and looking at my like kind of, not to say that I had a hard life. I'm not trying to say that in any sense, but like things that I had to do and decisions that I had to make that like, I guess like some people, I don't know, some people might not have to. Like, and because of those things, not being so hard on myself when it's like, oh, I'm not going to beat myself up because I don't have a down payment for a house yet. I'm not going to beat myself up because, you know, like these, it's not as much relationship stuff as it is like financial kind of like goals that you want to have or different things like that. Like I just bought my first like new car a couple, like almost a year ago. So like doing those things and actually like being stoked for myself and not being so hard on myself and that's where going back full circle now, not spending so much time on social media saying that person has this or that person has done this and that person has that. And it's like, that's sick. Good
and
for
not
them.
chasing it too.
Right.
Because
I
think that was the issue with me is like, I would look at it and be like, how are they getting that?
Right. Oh my gosh.
Like
sometimes.
how is, and it won't just be on social media. It'll be like in person too.
Right.
Like I can be at a stoplight and this super nice car pulls up and it's like the 16-year-old kid.
What the frick did you? Oh,
I'm
their
like,
parents got that for them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But then you see it on Instagram and you see like this kid that has like a Nissan GTR already.
Right.
I'm like,
And that's okay.
how? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, then I start comparing it. Like, how do I get there?
What sucks is that like, oh man, and it's such a culture thing is that like, I wish that we could get out of the mindset of I'm less because I don't have that, which is just like, and that's where we come back to the comparison thing. That's all it is. I am less because I'm not there yet. I am less because, you know, and it's just like, it's a virus.
And I think about it and it's like, at the end of the day, would I rather have all that stuff or family values?
Right.
Or the education I'm getting.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Like the relationship I have with my parents and my, you know, my sister and my brother.
Yeah.
Like if I had to choose, it would always be
Exactly.
It'd always be family.
Always those relationships. And it's, yeah, I think that what's scary about those kind of things and like living that way too is like, I'm not saying anyone is, but like it can be a rabbit hole
Oh yeah.
because enough is never enough. But like with family and stuff in those relationships, that can be.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where like I can go to my family for stuff. I can't go to my car and be like, I had a terrible day.
had a bad day.
Yeah.
It could maybe feel like, oh, it'll distract me, but that's a distraction. That's not necessarily fulfilling.
It's temporary.
Exactly.
My car will break down. My family won't. Like,
ooh, that's good.
you know, but do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, yes, my car will give me satisfaction when I'm driving it. Yes, my car will get me places, and it's more satisfying to have a nicer car if I'm going to be driving back and forth from school all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when my car breaks down, it's useless. You know what I mean?
Right. Or I have to buy another one.
Yes.
Or and the thing too is like, let's say you get whatever, then you're already looking at the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I wish this had this.
That's so funny because just with this podcast stuff, I already have everything I need.
Yeah.
Literally have everything I need.
Yeah.
And at night, I'm sitting there looking at microphones.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I have these, but I could get something better that would, like, be a little bit nicer, but I'm going to have to spend way more money. You know what I mean? Like, these are way more than, you know,
right. And
adequate.
it's just like,
It's just the mindset of, like, of how we are. Like, I don't think it's, I don't think you're a bad person for, like, having the drive or like the determination to achieve more, but I think it's when you let that drive
be
your life
exactly and be the only thing that you're looking for,
and it just comes back to it being materialistic. You know what I mean?
And then that it's almost like you're so you can be so hyper focused on those things that you miss out on the things that we've discussed are really important in life, relationships, people.
Yeah, it's so crazy, and I think that's one of the things that like I cherish the friendships, family so much because like I know like the friendship I have with you and Jordan and Justin, like
I am Jordan.
Yes. People listening aren't gonna but like you, Blake, and Justin.
You said you.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
I was like, what the heck? Like, no.
Yeah.
But the friendships that the three of us have, or the
Yeah.
four of us, like, I wouldn't trade that for anything. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I look forward to sitting down with you guys and talking, even if we're just talking about nothing. Like,
right. And that's why I value the little things. I
Mhm.
guess it makes you value the little things. Like, it's gonna sound so stupid and so hipster, but that's why I love coffee. It's shut up.
dude, you and your coffee. I swear to God.
That's what I'm saying though, is like, I know that you could buy whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like how to phrase this. I know what I love about going and sitting at a coffee shop and like talking to you guys is I know that like it's not necessarily the coffee, it's the setting that it gives me.
It's the experience.
Exactly. And it allows me to like, I would so much rather just sit with someone and have a meaningful conversation.
Mhm.
And what the coffee does is it allows the setup for that to happen.
It's the median.
Exactly. So that's why like those things to me are just so cool. And those little things, because it can be something I get into, and it's something that's not like, it is like a little thing, like
Yeah.
a little cup of coffee, and what that what it can, like you said, be the median for. It's just, I think it's
Yeah.
so sick.
And I think to tie things up, that was kind of my concept for the podcast and why I called it the Bar Top, was because
Yeah.
when you go to a bar,
Ooh.
like my envision was that, you know, when you go to a bar of friends, you sit down and you have a drink and
Mhm.
you sit down and talk.
Yeah.
And it's not about like, you're not doing anything
No.
other than sitting and enjoying the environment or like the company, right?
Right.
And that's like kind of what I wanted like the podcast to be. Like, we sit down, share a beer, try different beers out, and sit down
Right.
and have a conversation. Like there's no
agenda.
there's no agenda, there's no goal, there's no
Which is something that like is so bad, or like not bad, but like sometimes it's completely necessary. But in like
Mhm.
relationships, where it can be to the point where it's like, what are you offering? And it's like, what am I getting from you out of this
Mhm.
conversation? And like, instead of just like shooting the crap.
Yeah, and I think that's like, in the world that we live in now, everything is so built around an agenda that it's hard to like not just the agenda, but technology. Like, we're so used to talking through a screen
Yeah.
that we've gotten away from sitting down face to face and having a conversation. Like,
But
looking at someone and saying, what do you think about this? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
right. Which will be interesting with like getting back to like everything, because like just think about like, I think about work,
mhm.
and I think about the past 3 months. Most of my interactions at work have been over Zoom meetings. So you start to wonder, because I feel like some people will like that because it's easier.
Mhm.
So it
It's
is interesting.
convenient.
Exactly. And so it'll be interesting to see what people, like as we come back, like how people will choose to interact. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like me, I'm like, I hate it. I hated all the
No,
Zoom
dude,
stuff.
it feels so forced and
Yep.
unnatural.
Exactly.
Me talking through a screen,
Right.
trying to have a legit conversation feels so unnatural.
It does.
And
And
it's one of those things where like,
And it's so much easier to like zone out.
yes,
Like
yes.
If I'm in a meeting with 50 people, I know that they don't see me.
Yeah.
So
They just see your screen. They just see a bunch of blocks
yeah,
on their screen.
they're
and
not
someone's
focusing on
talking
all
about-
of them. So I can like just get lost in the crowd and just be on my phone
Yeah.
or whatever.
And I think that's why I'm like so ready for this stuff to be over, so we can actually sit down and do it in the actual setting that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And for it to be like even more relaxed, like just to sit down and like, all right, let's talk.
Yeah.
Like,
It'll be sick.
no, I'm ready for it, dude.
I'm hyped.
So, all right. No, this was fun. This was a
good.
long conversation, but
This
it was good.
It was good. I like.
It's funny because like as we're sitting here talking, I get lost and I look down at the time. I'm like, oh crap! Like,
What's funny too is like I could keep going.
and that's how I am.
Right.
But then I start thinking about like whoever's listening to this is like
Weird.
looking at the time marker and they're like, there's 2 hours.
Yeah.
I can't listen to that.
Right. We need to get better at.
It's like those Instagram stories where people are just clicking through.
dude.
It's in.
And it's like such a hard balance, because as the person creating the content, I'm sure it's just like, this is just fun. We just want to do this.
Yeah.
But you like, if your intention is to like have something good for your viewer, you have to know people's attention
Mhm.
span.
And here, this will be a poll. I'll put it on Instagram. What is your ideal listening time?
That's good.
Because I listen to podcasts all the time.
Right.
Like, if I'm in the car, most likely listening. I would say 75% of the time I'm in the car, I'm listening to a podcast.
Oh, I'm listening to Hood Rat stuff.
Yeah, you and you, dude.
95.
The night that we went to go see one of our kids play basketball, and we got in the car, and you turned on Kanye, and
Dude,
you knew every
It makes me
single
drive,
word.
It makes me drive faster.
Yeah.
It makes me. You remember when we were coming when those kids were trying to prank us, and I looked
Yeah.
at I have cameras in my
I don't
office.
know what song you put on, but I felt like I was in Need for Speed
Oh,
or like
dude.
Tokyo Drift.
Black Skinhead by Kanye. You put that on, it automatically makes you drive faster.
Yeah. You turned into Baby Driver
Dude,
that day.
100%. I just I'll tell that
Jordan
story
turned
sometime.
it on, and it was just like he hit the turbo mode on his.
And the best part is like it was like 5 minutes away. But
Oh
I
yeah,
was,
it wasn't that we needed to rush. It was the
we were
excitement
in my
of
office and they were destroying
it.
it.
Oh gosh, I'm telling you, we need to do an episode solely
pranks
on
we've
all
done.
the prank wars.
I would
It's
love that.
been so bad.
It's so bad. It's so much fun. I think my office still smells like
Oh gosh,
mildewy.
yeah, your office smelled so bad after that.
It smelled like because I sprayed whipped cream. I
Mhm.
shot it at all the
Dude, it was all over the carpet.
Yeah.
All over the tables. And it was one of those things where, like, imagine smelling rotten milk for
know.
3 weeks
It was so bad.
in an entire hallway.
It was so bad. I can't be certain, but I'm pretty sure I asked the facilities people and they came in and cleaned it.
We tried, though. It wasn't that we didn't try to clean it
Yeah.
up.
No, it just was.
we legit tried to clean it. But yeah, no, I'll pull a poll up on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because my
I'm
an
half an
hour, yeah, an hour tops. Like,
Yeah.
because usually my drive to school and back is like 45 minutes, so like an hour is a sweet spot.
Sure.
But I honestly think 45 minutes is gonna be,
I think that's good.
yeah,
It definitely. It's,
right now we're at like an hour and 15 minutes.
All right, let's get off of this so
Yeah.
people don't have to listen anymore.
If you're still listening, you're a real one.
Yeah, you're the realist.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Stay tuned for Friday. Today's Wednesday. We're recording on a Wednesday. But I believe Friday I will be recording with my cousin Dominic. And it should be
Ooh.
the first episode that we record actually at the bar top.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I had to get clearance from the homeowners to allow an outsider inside our...
Your roommates.
Yeah. My roommate. Because of Corona, I had to get clearance for my cousin to come in our house.
Did he have to get tested first?
Yeah, he
Wait,
works
are you
at-
serious?
No,
say.
they didn't make him get tested. He
Oh.
works at Safeway, and I guess
Oh.
one of his coworkers
Got it.
tested positive. So
Very
they
asymptomatic though. Yeah.
so then he's just like me. Right when this first kicked off,
Yeah.
I had strep, and
Oh
we
my
thought
gosh,
it was
dude, paranoid.
yeah, we thought it was Corona.
Right.
Luckily, I didn't get tested because this was like the first week
Yeah.
things were starting. So testing wasn't like you couldn't get tested
Right.
unless you
No
were in the
one could get
hospital. Yeah,
tested.
he got strep, had a fever, and was like throwing up. And my aunt made him get tested right away.
And he. Oh,
Yeah,
and he
no, it was
doesn't-
it was negative, but he even told me, he goes, dude, I knew it was strep. He goes, I couldn't swallow. He's like, I couldn't breathe and I couldn't swallow.
That's awful.
So, but yeah,
I had to, I woke up the other day. It was the first day back to work. Sorry, this is the last.
No,
one.
no,
It's
you're
so
good.
fun. Last. So our first day back, on campus, was 2 days ago
Mhm.
or 3 days ago, something like whatever Monday was, and I woke up, and I had a tickle in my throat,
oh gosh,
and immediately I was like, oh man, I was so excited to come back to work. I was like, God, why? It's the first day. And then best part is that I'm like, when I sleep, I mouth breathe.
dude, I wish you could see my reaction to what you just said,
Yeah.
because that was me for 3 weeks.
Oh, for real?
I sleep with the fan next to my bed, but I sleep with my mouth open.
Oh my gosh.
So I was waking up and my mouth was not only was it so dry,
right.
but I wake up and I'm like,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I couldn't, I would start coughing immediately.
Oh gosh.
So then my mom would come in my room. She was like, "Why are you coughing? Are you sick? Do you not feel well? Why are you coughing?" I'm like,
Dude,
"Listen,
it's
it's
just-
nothing.
right.
Like, it's a tickle in my throat.
That's
like,
hilarious. And that's exactly what I did. So I woke up and then I had a cup of coffee
Mhm.
and then I was like, oh, I'm fine.
fine.
But still for that whatever hour,
Yeah.
half an hour, I was just like,
It's crazy
I'm
that
gonna
like
die.
it's crazy how paranoid
It can make you.
can make you.
Absolutely.
Like
I don't want to get it. I don't
I'm
want to
at
just
work and I started sneezing,
Yeah.
and I think I was wearing a mask, and something got on the inside of the mask, and I was just breathing it in over and over again.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it got in my nose, and it
Oh,
just
you
made
were-
me sneeze, right? But I couldn't stop. I had like a really bad sneezing attack.
Oh.
And I immediately had to go to the back.
Yeah.
Because like if I let any of these customers see me sneezing, they're gonna think I'm sick.
Yep.
And then I'm like immediately washing my hands with sanitizer.
Right.
Like I got a new mask. I was like, like there's no way I'm getting sick. Like I can't miss work.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm not paranoid about I don't want to get anyone sick, but
Mhm.
my biggest thing is I was cooped up in my house, kind of, but cooped up
Yeah.
for 3 months, and I was fine. Like now the
Yeah.
idea that like if I get something, not only am I gonna have to isolate myself, I don't even know where I'd go for 2
Dude,
weeks.
So my cousin, when
Yeah.
he was sick,
Yeah.
my aunt, like I said, my family's amazing. My
Right.
aunt made him wear a mask in his own room.
Dude.
He was in his own room wearing a mask.
I don't
by
know what I would.
himself.
I live with 3 other dudes, and they all have they have their own families and stuff.
Yeah.
I have thought about that, and it's definitely made me try, kind of, I guess, to be precautious. Maybe not as much, but still, think at least.
I think it's the fear of I don't want to be isolated.
I don't want to. That's my biggest thing because, as we've talked about, I am a 7 and
Yes.
I am an extrovert, and the idea of me just watching movies on my laptop for 2 weeks sounds like torture.
It would be the worst thing ever.
Absolutely, it would be the worst thing ever.
I have a hard time finding stuff to watch on TV now.
I don't watch TV.
Oh, really? Yeah, on Netflix, I'm very picky when it comes to what I watch. So
Yeah.
me being in my room 24/7 for 2 weeks, having to find stuff.
I would go crazy.
We'd be doing remote podcasts. I'd be
That's fine.
FaceTiming you guys, and we'd be recording.
I
would not be able to do.
I don't want to.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's why I'm just I don't want to get it, and you call it selfish, whatever. I don't want to get it because I don't want to have to quarantine myself for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that would suck.
Well, everyone stay safe out there because no one
Yes.
wants to get
Yeah.
quarantined.
No. If
again.
you have it and you get near me, I swear. I don't know what,
Yeah.
but
I was waiting for some
I was
dramatic.
thinking of something. I'll find you.
Yeah. All right.
Give you
like I
smallpox.
said, thank you guys so much for listening to our second episode. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. And like I said, I'll put a poll up. And the other thing, if you guys have feedback, I'd love to hear it. If you guys have any suggestions, want to hear us talk about something, send me a DM on Instagram on the Bar Top Podcast Instagram page, and we will talk about it.
Sweet.
All right. Peace.